I have this very fond memory of my grandfather from when I was a child. I was in the countryside with him, spending the last days of my summer holidays. And he was tending the fields. He was a subsistence farmer. And while he was working in the fields, I got really bored. I guess there were no smartphones then for keeping young children's minds busy. And then I just started to do something mindless, which was to grab a little piece of rod and start hitting some grapes, damaging them. He, as soon as saw that, he saw, Norberto, stop doing that immediately. That's really stupid. You're going to ruin the grapes. And I was really scared. He never talked to me like this. And then I said, well, it's only just a few anyway. And then he said something that really marked my life, which is, if every person in that path goes and does the same thing, I'm going to have no harvest. And these words really stuck to my mind. The reason is that I actually believe that that would never happen. Nobody actually goes through that path, and not everybody goes through that path and starts doing that. But that made me think, because in the same way that people don't usually do the bad things all the time, there are not also enough people to do the good things. That made me think. Fast forward to the current era. Okay, I've stopped hitting grapes. That's good. But now I'm a volunteer, as in more than half of my productive life is volunteering for causes. I'm organizer of TEDxPorto, and I'm a volunteer. By the way, I don't know if you guys know, but organizer of TEDxMarvila, shout out to them. They're also volunteers, all of them. They spend a lot of their time doing a great job for you, for free. So I do that in the same way. We bring the best stories, the best projects, the best ideas to a good stage, and then project them out into the world. A lot of part of my work as well is that I'm a Toastmaster. I'm a member and a leader at Toastmasters. This is an international organization that aims to help us to be good on stage, to speak well, and also to lead well. That's fantastic for me. I actually improve myself by helping other people. I do lots of other things. For example, I'm also one of the directors of a non-profit in Porto, whose aim is to create incentives, the legal and economic incentives, to not just stop polluting, not just to stop putting out CO2 out there in the atmosphere, but also to create incentives to make the CO2, to bring it down from the atmosphere where it does not do any harm. I also mentor young people, especially, giving them some skills, some life skills that will be helpful for them, both on an entrepreneurial perspective, also when they're students, and for their professional life in the future. And that's just a few of the things that I do. I would like to have more time, but I don't. Now, what happens with this is that volunteering is about helping other people, helping other organizations that otherwise would not be able to exist. Can you imagine an organization or a project, something that you are needed, you are going to benefit them, but they don't have the money to pay you? Would that be a big deal? Do we really have to believe that only the organizations that have enough money to pay a salary are worth continuing, live, and to create some positive impact in the world? Is that really what we believe? Because I think that's a lot of people tell me. Oh, why don't you get paid? Well, I don't get paid because it doesn't generate money. Well, why doesn't it generate money? Because it doesn't have to. Because we have to create impact in other ways. And we can, as volunteers, be these people. We can contribute with our time. We can contribute with our expertise. We can contribute with anything that we have on our side that maybe they don't. Does it have to be us? No, it could be somebody else. The problem is that not enough people do it. I've searched some statistics recently, both in Portugal and in Europe, about the number of people who actually do volunteer work per year. The most recent I found for Portugal say that between 6 and 8% of people, I repeat, between 6 and 8% of people, over 15 by the way, have contributed to any worthy cause. In 2018, that was the last date that we had some statistics to do something as a volunteer. In Europe, that's actually 10.6%, which is higher, but not that much higher. So in Portugal, we're saying that on average, 1 out of 12 people contribute as a volunteer. In the rest of Europe, just above 1 in 10. I think both of these numbers are quite bad. And it's something that I think we can do a little bit more. I don't know if you heard this message, this old saying that we should do our part. Doing our part is great, but it's kind of things that everybody's doing their part, so we do our little bit and everybody else will do their bit. But in a world where only 1 in 12, 1 in 10 people do their part, I think we should do a little bit more. The people who do something will have to do their part and a little bit more the part that corresponds to other people who are not doing their thing. And that's really hard as well. Now, if you think about this, volunteering is not just about helping other people. Now, let's be a little bit more egotistical. You can actually earn a lot. Not money, but you can earn a lot from being a volunteer. First of all, that warm feeling that you know that you are helping other people. You are improving your skills. You are honing your skills. It could be skills about communication. It could be skills about sometimes really hard labor. It could be that your skill, what you've learned and your job in your day-to-day life, your professional life, is useful for lots of organizations. Why not helping them? In every single time that I've been a volunteer, I think I earned more, I gained more from the experience than what I was able to give. And it happens every single one. And funnily enough, every time that I share this experience with other people, they tell me the same thing. For example, when there's a fantastic organization in Porto called Transformers. They help especially youngsters. They train them to become volunteers. They have an impact all over the country, especially now in Portugal. There's another one, which is Journey Achievement. They actually they came from the United States, and they approach schools and also businesses, creating kind of a marketplace where it says, schools, we're going to give you, if you want, a curriculum about financial literacy, which is something that schools sometimes don't have. And they also go to businesses and say, if you guys would like to, we can provide a space for some of your employees to come and teach at schools financial literacy. Why not? It's a market. It's open. There are many other things. Any one of you can grab your phone and go on Google and look for local volunteering opportunities. Easy enough, right? The thing is, why don't we do it? My point is, I think we should do it. And I think we should do it not just on my part, a lot of our parts. Every one of us needs to do a lot more than we think we should. As I said, we do have our advantages for ourselves. And I was going to finish that thought by saying that every other person I've talked to, when they become volunteers, they always said, this was one of the best decisions I've ever made. It transforms their lives. They know that they are making a positive impact out in the world. That it's not just about them and their life every day, home to work, work, home, home to work, work, home. Or if you are lucky enough, maybe you are working from home, in which case it's work, 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 home, home, home. It's up to you. That's a hard life, in my opinion. About 8.5 years ago, I left my own company. Where I used to do that, I was already a volunteer, but I couldn't keep up. It was hard to keep both of these things. And I eventually left my comfortable life, where I used to do that kind of thing. I used to work 9, 10 hours a day or something, and it was enough. And now I have a life that enables me to become a volunteer whenever I want. Now, I hope I've convinced you. I hope that I've made the point that we all should be volunteers. I hope that I've made the point that we all gain from being volunteers, that we create a positive impact out there in the world. Out there are many people who need it. And as much as we think, oh, what can I contribute with? There's always something that other people need. I've seen one case of one guy who contributed as a volunteer to a local shelter, an animal shelter. And this person initially was just literally hosing down the cages where the cats and the dogs, whatever they used to be. But soon he realizes that this place had no way to properly organize all the animals and the things that, sometimes the animals get taken away by new owners and so on. There was no way for them to organize themselves quite well. So he said, I can do software. I can create a software package for these guys to manage this. And now he's selling that to the world. Isn't that amazing? That we create value for everybody, not just ourselves? My last thing is that I'm pretty sure that although we all work very hard, that we wouldn't like to be on the deathbed thinking, oh, I should have done that last spreadsheet. I'm sure I should have done that extra line of products. Oh, that project that I've always thought about, I should have done it. No, I don't think it happens like that, does it? It's all about human connection. This is the topic of today's event here. It's all about how we connect to other people and create that value together. Not about how we created value just for ourselves, or maybe for a boss or something. So my call to action to you guys is, do your part, but don't forget, lots of people are not doing theirs. So do your part, and do a little bit of theirs as well. Thank you.